Welcome everyone to the Authors Forum for October 2025. Oh, I'm so excited. This is the first month of this last quarter of the year, and we're coming to you with another fresh package of the Authors Forum. This time around, with one of the foundational members of the Authors Forum, Coach Remi Ayodele. She has never missed any Authors Forum, and when she's not, and she's here today as a guest author. Wow, Coach Remi, what a great one having you! Oh, look at
Yes,
that.
it's an honor to be here as a guest today. Oh,
Oh yeah, Coach Remy, how does it feel? When we started the Authors Forum in May 2024, and we are just five of us just on this platform, and we're just learning together, and it has blown up that
yeah.
many authors have written their book, and they have been inspired through Authors Forum, and glad to know that you are one of them. Look at you!
Yes,
Wow,
I am
wow.
one of them. When we started the Authors Pentagon, we called it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I had my book in the incubator, and
Mm.
but with every session kept encouraging me to keep writing, to not let it. It doesn't have to be perfect. To keep
Mm,
birthing it, and I just kept doing it. I kept doing it, and then eventually it was born. Like
wow,
Dr.
that's
Michael would
awesome.
say, having baby
Yeah,
showers. So the book was
yeah,
born,
yeah,
and it's now
yeah,
live on Amazon. So it's been a
yeah,
wonderful journey.
yeah. Really, and that's so true. And I told people I was in a podcast last month. It was released yesterday. I said in the authors forum we have book showers like baby showers. I mean, because we are here to support one another. It's author supporting author. This is not a forum for one person. It's a community, and everything that you are doing, you need a community. And please, in case you have missed all the past edition, I want to encourage you to go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Michael Koku, and access all the recordings. And we started recording actually from last September 2024. So you will see great content, great guests that we have brought. We have brought publishers that talks about self-publishing, that gave us a framework. I mean, there's so much content. Just type authors forum and then type my name, Dr. Michael Coco. You will see you can learn. That's what we will, and we'll keep on bringing new authors. So today is Coach Remi's day, and she has written a book on practically connected parenting. I believe you can see this. Yeah, it's, I mean, beautiful book, well designed, well packaged. 21 ways to create timeless memories. And such a great book. I bought it myself from Amazon because, like I said, one of the way we support authors is buying their books and really encouraging them. As someone that have written few books, and I've seen how much is important when people buy your books. We all need encouragement. Yeah. So today we're gonna talk about the first and the next 20 minutes. We'll be talking about the I'll be going one on one with Coach Remy about our book writing, what we are really interested in. Everyone's experience is different. So we want to learn about our book writing journey. And then when we get to the second half, from 30 minutes to the end of this session, we will be having a live audience. So please, everyone in this live audience, you will be free to ask your question from Coach Remy. And so that's the opportunity, that's the privilege you have of being here. Okay, Coach Remy, tell us what what inspired the writing of this book? What inspired it? So, where did you get this inspiration from?
Thank you so much, Dr. Coco. The inspiration came from me as a mother trying to find ways to connect with my teenagers.
Yeah.
And when I would coach moms and families, the basic challenge is, how do I reach my teenager?
Mm,
Because the generational gap, the cultural gap, and just the fact that parents versus teenagers speak different languages, how
mm,
do I reach them? So I find out that we need to spend more time with them, but
Mm,
parents don't have time. So I thought of the pockets of time that I have been using to connect with my own children, and I
mm,
decided to just start itemizing it. So initially, what I did was I created a Facebook Live teaching on 16 ways to create
mm,
timeless memories with your
mm.
teenagers.
Yeah.
And as I kept thinking about it, a mom invited me to her podcast, and she was also having that same challenge. And so
Mm.
after that, I expanded it to 21, thinking, okay,
Oh.
21, if you repeat something 21 times, we can master it. So we're busy, but we still cook. So we can do
Mm,
it. So those 21 things are what we already do, so that it's not like looking for an extra time in your 24 hours. It's what you already do in everyday
mm,
life, in throughout your week, that you can
mm.
turn into connection moments with your teenagers. So essentially trying to solve my own connection challenge, the connection challenge of moms that came to my coaching program, so
Mm.
that we do not miss the window of opportunity that we have our teenagers at home.
Wow, that was awesome. That was great. Okay, let's talk about this process. I did a masterclass, and for everyone that is listening, you can access the masterclass. It's called the Book Writing Fundamentals. Book Writing Fundamentals, and I mentioned the 7 P's, the 7 P's. And I also mentioned the 8 pitfalls of book writing. It's available. You can go to my YouTube channel and just look at the fundamentals of book writing. Now, because we have different authors that have been here, we've had Miss Marisa, we have Dr. Kenisha. I mean, great authors, Dr. Sherry, Mark Williams. I mean, great people sharing their book writing. So, can you tell us what was your experience like? And tell us from the moment of conception to the moment of delivery, of this
Okay.
book. Tell us what was it like? What was it like? What was your gestation period like?
Yes, so like I said, it started as a Facebook live. And what I was thinking was, what do I do with my children? The
Hmm,
first one there was the power of the third voice. Because
hmm,
when I'm trying to teach them lessons of life,
hmm,
sometimes it's like, oh, mom has come again. So I started getting books that would teach the topic, and
hmm,
created a book club with my children. Initially, it's just one book. We take turns reading and discussing it. But
hmm,
later, I just buy one copy for everybody, read at your own time, and then we'll set a time to come and discuss. So I started seeing their light bulbs going on in those moments. And so that is how I started. So the power of the third voice, using that author to pass along my own wisdom to them. So it's not just me talking, it is them. So I noted that. So that was the power of the third voice, the first chapter of the book. And also like cooking together. And that's how am I going to cook these children, how teach these children how to cook between school and activities. What I
hmm,
started doing is when they're home, I assign the task. So I said, okay, this is how I taught my son how to make breakfast. This is how I taught my daughter how to make stew. So that is it. We're going to cook anyway. So we did that also. So taking a walk, my older daughter, she likes to walk. So when she's home from school, there's just no time because she used to play tennis. It was a long hours weekend. She was also gone to the cricket club, and so. But she likes to take a walk, so I'll wake up early and go with her on a walk, and that's where I'll talk. What's going on in your life? What's going on? So and that's okay. That way she was able to open up and talk. So one after the other, I just started noting what I've been doing with my children to get them to connect. Like my son, he plays basketball and he loves watching it. So what I do is I go and watch and I tell him, may the best player win. He said, no, mom, I'm rooting for my own team. So that way
hmm,
it tells me to connect to his own world.
hmm.
So
Okay.
these are the little nuggets. I just started noting it. And whenever I'm doing a work, I need editing. My second daughter, she's our English lady at home. So I call her in to come and help me edit my work. So for her, I'm exposing her to my work. That's another chapter in the book. Expose your
Hmm.
children to what you do.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that makes
Yes. Sorry to interrupt you,
okay.
Coach Remy. You are going inside the content of the book. The intent of Authors Forum is the your writing experience.
Yes.
Because on this platform we have people come to really to be inspired about the writing process. Yeah, I'm enjoying what you are sharing. I'm enjoying your the content, what the book is all about. I mean, those are great stuff, and we're going to really showcase that on our PL magazine. But this forum, I want us to give the would be authors and about the practicality of your conception. Yeah, yeah, I'm enjoying it as well. But
So, so
I, I
okay.
want
So
us to
let me
say,
let me
yeah,
rewind.
exactly.
Let me
Coach Remy,
rewind.
Coach Remy can take you on a trip. Yeah.
Let me
So I
rewind.
have to
So
get down. I have to get down from that car and take another Uber with her in another direction. Yeah. So this
okay.
is yeah. So we have
So
switched. We have switched.
um
We are switching cars now. So the car
okay.
that we want to take is explain to us the book writing experience as an author, and we want to know what's that experience like at the time that you concept this idea and to writing the book. There's a
So
difference between an author and a writer.
and a writer. Okay.
As
So
yeah,
those things, because the book is titled Practically Connected Parenting,
yeah.
what I just started doing is writing how I was connecting with my children and just journaling it.
Okay,
Sometimes I'm just thinking and an idea comes to my mind. I say to my phone, and so my phone transcribed to text, I email it to myself. So that
okay,
way I add it again to my content. So you
okay.
may not have time to sit down. Sometimes it's during I'm taking a walk in the morning. Another topic comes to my mind. I just say to my phone again and email it to myself. So by the time I sit down on my desk, I've already said a lot of things to my phone. I just
Mm,
copy it and put it under each of the chapters. So that way
mm.
I know they said create a writing ritual. um, I'm not perfect at that, but I created a talking to my phone ritual.
No, so you
So
created a talking ritual.
yes, I created a talking ritual. So I
Okay.
just say it to my phone, it transcribes it for me, and I go and put it under the appropriate topic that I'm talking about. So before I knew it, the whole 21 chapters was done, just talking to my phone, converting to text, and just copying and arranging it on my
So
desk.
how long did the process take you? How long did it take you from the first time that you got the idea for this book to the time of the publishing? What can you give us the duration of time that it takes you?
For me, it was 4 months because remember, I was creating the 16 ways on Facebook. So I already created those 16 with that same method and I
Mm,
already recorded it on Facebook. So it was after Christmas and I now decided, okay, this has to be converted into a book. And so
mm,
then I now retranscribe what I said on Facebook. But because you
mm.
know, right? What you wrote down is not always what you said. I added more
Yeah,
things while I was talking on Facebook.
yeah.
So
Mm,
it gave me more content. So again,
okay.
that's talk to text for me. So it gave me
Mm,
those 16 chapters. And so the remaining chapters that I added, I also did the same thing. I just did that. So I just said it to my phone and then copy and paste. So I didn't have to sit down and be
mm,
scribbling and writing
mm.
everything because I didn't
So
have the
where did you get that from? Did you see somebody did that before? Is there a precedent to that action of
time.
because I like that idea, especially when we have a smartphone.
Yes.
It's so interesting that even though we have what is called smartphone, a lot of people are still dumb because all they do with their smartphone is just binge stuff that does not add value to them. But you are able to use that talk to test. And I've actually had somebody that did this stuff. He said one day he got stuck in the airport and the flight was changed and it was just dictating to his iPad and he was able to finish one book right there. So I've had it before from a prolific author. So tell us, where did you get that precedence from? Did it just occur to you, or maybe you learn it from someone?
No, because if I want to remember something, that's how I always send myself a note.
Okay.
So when it was time to write, I just carried on that.
Adopted that same, yeah.
Yes, because I'm not a fast type. I don't type fast.
Mm,
So I just said that's the easiest way for me. And
mm,
sometimes I wanted the book to be more conversational too, because when I'm trying to type, I find myself editing a lot even before I finish the script. So, but when I say it in my conversational voice as if I'm talking to someone, it
yeah.
helps me to maintain the
Mm,
conversation of
mm.
whatever it is I'm trying to write. So that's
Wow. And
important.
that's so true. And I really appreciate that you touched on something. Because in book writing, the first thing you don't want to start doing is editing. You want
Yes.
to allow just because in the process of conception, you just want to pour out the idea first.
Yes.
And editing can comes after. Because the first thing is you want to let the idea just come out of you. Like and somebody said, Dr. Tim Elmore, he said the first script, the first writing is for you. Yeah, because at that time you are not even thinking about editing. The
Mm.
goal is to just bring forth those ideas. So I call that phase, I call it the ideation phase,
Yes.
in which those ideas were coming, and later on you begin to put it into expression. You begin to give it expression. Editing comes last, because
Yes.
you can always edit and edit and edit. So tell us what now, the book writing journey, and can you explain what inspired you to keep up with the writing? Because a lot of people, they have started writing a book and they just give up along the way and they don't even talk about it again. So what was the support system that you had that kept you going, that to get you to the finish line? Because like I said, so many people start writing book that there are so many uncompleted book, so many uncompleted projects that are just been abandoned. And so what was the factor that helped you to
Mm.
get to the point of execution? Thank you.
Yes, so accountability. So one of my support system was the Authors Forum because every time I
Oh,
would
look
come,
at that. Tell us
every
about it. Tell
time
us
I
about
would
it.
come,
Yeah. Yeah.
somebody on this screen will remind everybody, have you written your book? And so that kept me on. And my children, Mom, I thought you told us you're going to publish your book this year. And so they keep reminding me too that I should write, I should keep writing. So so between the authors forum and my children,
Mm,
I didn't have a break on let me get it done. And uh,
mm,
so I just kept going.
mm,
Yes.
mm. Wow, that's awesome. And I'm really glad for that. And this is why I'm encouraging you. Either you are listening to us live here today or you watching, you need an accountability forum. In my book, Live Life Big, Don't Live Your Dream, Live Your Dream. And I shared something from the dream framework. In that dream framework, one of the things I mentioned is I mentioned the accountability factor. The accountability factor. So looking at that word dream, the D is you need to have a dream. But when I get to that, I talks about accountability. That means we all need
Yes.
accountability to bring about our profitability. So, and I'm glad you mentioned that because it's very important to have this kind of community where you can come, where it's, I mean, when you are dragging, you can keep moving. Now, today we are looking at leveraging the legacy factor for
Mhm.
effective book writing. So tell us, how have you how has you view, first of all, what does the legacy factor means to you?
The legacy factor. So when I first talked about the word legacy, in the past you would think is what an inheritance that you leave for your children. But I kept thinking, if they didn't know you while they were with you, there's no legacy to leave there. So it is how you connect on every day that you pass on your legacy. So when I'm teaching them, talking with them, cooking with them, I'm passing on my legacy every single day. So that is why documenting it For them, when they read it, they can remember, oh, that was the time we went to this place. That was the time. So for me, that is legacy. They were part of creating it. So documenting it for me was like, I'm giving them like let's just say a note of what we did pretty much, so that they too can do it for their own families. And talking about doing it for their families, when I finished the 21 chapters, I was just praying one day, and the Holy Spirit said, well, how did you do all these 21 things? What did your parents do? I said, my parents? Because I live in a totally different country. So I started thinking. So I went chapter by chapter, what my parents did that was parallel to each chapter. And before I knew it, I just kept recollecting memories of things we did when I was growing up, even before I was a teenager. It's
Mm,
as if one part of my brain unlocked, and I just started writing for each chapter the then factor. So in the book, the now factor is what me and my children, my husband built together.
mm,
But then
mm,
the then factor in the book is what my parents did. I now started noticing they did exactly all those 21 activities for
mm,
me and my siblings growing up, even in a different culture that they raised us, and they did it in their own unique way. So talking about legacy, I documented their own story. So my children they don't see their grandparents.
mm,
So having that story connects them immediately to that generation, that wow,
mm,
their grandparents did this with my mom. And honestly, when I was doing this with my children, I didn't think of, oh, my mom did it, let me do it. My dad did it, let me do it. I
mm,
just did it, which goes back to that practically connected parenting. When we're intentional, teen years is our avenue to pass legacy, one encounter and connection at a time. So all my parents did, I didn't know it had passed on to me. And
mm.
involuntary action, I just saw that I did exactly the same thing in a different community with my own children. That is how we
Wow.
pass on legacy.
Wow. That's awesome. Now, still talking about the legacy factor, because our focus is leveraging the legacy factor. Every time we have this autos forum, we always highlight a particular factor. We've highlighted the purpose factor, the dream factor, the commitment factor today. Now, still talking about that legacy. In I learned something from Tony Robbins about 7 things that laziness is costing you. And one of those things he mentioned is legacy erosion.
Mm,
And this is how it stood out to me. So because most of the time people hear legacy. Legacy is not what we leave for people,
mm,
it's what we leave in people.
yes.
And this is the way he explained that. He said that when you are lazy, you're you are losing a part of your legacy every day.
Mm,
I wrote my first 2 books when I was in medical school, year 2000 and 2003. For 20 years, I never wrote a single book. And it really bothers me. But 2 years ago, I pick up the momentum through the help of God, and I was able to write 10 new books in less than 2 years. That was what led to the Authors Forum. I'm just talking about how powerful the legacy factor is. If I had not done that, there will be no Authors Forum today.
mm,
So I'm saying this to inspire everyone listening to me. Whenever you are lazy, and I was actually lazy for 20 years, your legacy is being eroded because the Authors Forum started by Dr. Shanti came to me, said, I saw you are writing books. And she really want to. In fact, our first book is coming out before the end of this year. And she said, please, can you share some of your secrets with me? And I said, well, instead of sharing it with one, it would be good to bring other people that have been asking questions. So that's why the first Authors Forum in May 2024, it was just 5 of us. And that's how it all began. So if you refuse to tell your story, this is how Maya Angelou said it.
mm,
Maya Angelou said, the greatest tragedy in life is an untold story. So whenever you put your work in print, you are writing your legacy. You are leaving your legacy behind. And I want everybody to know that this is not about being famous. It's not about being a bestseller, because the real thing that people are the real thing is, oh, I want to be a bestseller. I want to be a bestseller. But I believe we should be a best server.
Yes.
As a person of faith, in Acts 13:36, the scripture said, and David, after he has served his generation by the will of God, he fell asleep. So, and I
Mm.
believe that's what legacy is all about. It's all about leaving something for your generation. And I'll share this with you before I get to two questions from you before I open up to the audience. Benjamin Franklin said something. He said, if you don't want to be forgotten as soon as you are gone, he said, do something worth remembering, or write something worth reading. So it is a kind of that. So when you write a book, you are leaving a legacy behind. So one of the guests we've had in this authors forum, she said when her husband was going through uh, palliative care, she
Mhm.
was looking for a book that will help her through that. She couldn't find one.
Mhm.
That was Coach Amy Shaw. So she asked to write a book for someone that will go through what she went through. So she couldn't find it. Can you imagine? Now, I believe many people have gone through that, but they never leave that legacy behind. They never did. And she did. She wrote that book. So, Coach Remy, based on the context I've given, because legacy factor is just more than our own primary family, nuclear family. It's huge. I mean, there will be someone all around the world that I've seen a lot of people. You've done a lot of events. I've seen people with your book and all that. Just imagine how many people have accessed this book online. How many people you've been on podcasts, people have heard about the book. So tell us what now, the context I just gave right now. So how can authors leverage the legacy factor in effective book writing? Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Coco.
Welcome.
So that legacy factor, I'll take it back to my parents. By immigrating, I think the number is up to or close to, I don't know, if up to 1 billion now of people who do not live in their country of origin. The legacy factor helps your children, those in diaspora, to connect to their heritage. They may not visit, or they may visit once in a while, but when you can document things that take them back to where you came from, you're connecting them to the wisdom and the values that has shaped you. That is
Mm,
another way of leveraging legacy. So you're combining not just your origin, you're combining it with the wisdom of where you currently live. And
mm,
when it comes to that legacy, you notice that everybody is busy now. How many people are sitting down to actually learn? We do not have a village anymore. The grandparents and the community that used to help us raise children. So,
mm,
but when you can leave your voice behind, now you
mm,
have handed not just your family, but families around the world a tool that they can run with to continue. Because by being having an engineering background, I always remember in science, they leverage the discoveries of previous generation.
yeah.
He said we have only seen higher by standing on the shoulders of giants. So if
Yes.
we
Yes.
do not leave legacy, we are not giving our children something to stand on to say you can go from here. In my background, I have a ladder that has a figurine on it. It has rungs. Then it came to a point where all the wrongs were gone. That's
Mm,
like the legacy we leave for our children. And that figure is on that last rung. That is saying, I've left my legacy. It's your turn to add your
mm,
rung of ladder and keep going. So if we're going to leverage it, we have to be like the scientist. Take all the discoveries and begin to add to it so that we can make it
mm,
better and brighter so our children can
mm.
exceed us in life.
Wow, that's awesome. So, a quick question, my last question before we open up the this for live audience question. What is the greatest lesson that you learned from your book writing experience? What's the greatest lesson that you learned?
Wow, the greatest lesson is that you have to be intentional. It won't
Mm,
happen by accident. You have to, that's why it's practical. You
Mm,
have to just make up your mind. Whatever it is, the story you want to tell, see
mm,
how it will benefit the people that will read it. And
mm,
that will drive you to really focus and get it done. So,
mm,
because for me, going back to the context of my book, the teenage years, they do not have to be years that we just survive. They should
mm,
be seasons that we intentionally pass on values, faith, and legacy to the next generation that will continue to echo years
mm.
after we are gone. So,
Wow, that's awesome. I thought that was the last question. I have one more. This is one question I normally ask. What will you tell an author that is working on their first book? Because this is your first book. So what
yes.
will you tell an author, that is working on their first book, that is having a cold feet, that is trying to write, I need to get this thing together and all that. What would be your best advice? What do you think what do you think you wish you had known before you wrote this book, that if you had to write, let's say, if someone was about to write their first book, what are the quick tips that they need to know? Thank you.
One is it won't be perfect because the moment I sent this book out, I started saying, "Oh, Remy, you should have said it this way. You should have said this this way." So just write it to the best of your ability,
Mm,
edit it to the best of your ability, and just let it go. And
mm,
like our mentor always says, there is version 2.0 that will come out of it. And so I already have a version 2.0 in my again in gestation period. So yes, so my what I'll just tell you is do the best. Do it as if you're writing a term paper. So finish the term paper. When they say pens up, then pens up, and just turn it in and let it
mm.
go and bless somebody.
Yeah, it's so important. I asked that question on purpose because a lot of people, they are just caught up. One of the pitfalls of book writing, I mentioned 8 P's. One of the first P is perfectionism syndrome. You see, it will not be perfect. Mark Twain said, continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection. So,
Mhm,
like I said, you have an opportunity to write a 2.0 of the book. So it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. So instead of waiting for the book to be perfect before I publish it, listen to me. If that's what you're gonna do, you're gonna wait forever. So bring out the book. You can later on, maybe in 3 years' time, write the 2.0 of the book, because you will keep growing. The book will never grow once it's out.
mhm.
So, and I'm glad you really touched on that, and that will really deliver somebody today. Okay, so the floor is now open, and you can put your hands up if you would like to ask a question from Coach Remi. Coach Remi is right here to take your question. If I see your hands up, on Zoom, I'll spotlight you to, and then make sure you put your video on too, to ask Coach Remi question, please. Question time for the live audience. Someone said, "Did you say few books?" Coach Easy, you are picking on me. Yes, I said I've written few books. That's what I said. Okay, question. Yeah, question for Coach Remy. Coach Easy, see, Coach Easy, she's picking on me. She said, we need to quantify a few books. Okay, I've written 12 books by the grace of God. That's not to intimidate anybody, but it's to inspire you. Since Coach Easy was so much on my neck, I have to do that. Okay, anyone have question, please? Question for Coach Remy? Feel free. This is the plus that you have, being live. I remember Coach Remy always asks question, and she has gained a lot of insight from authors that have been here separately, because she will just ask question, and all the time she's been working on her book, and she's working on other books at the moment. Yeah. Okay, someone said she answered most of my question already. Okay, any other question, please? Maybe, or comment, observation you want to make? and about what she said. Feel free. Like I said, you have the privilege and being on this live audience. Okay, yeah. And Coach Lisa said the perfection syndrome. If you want to know more about the perfection syndrome, and go to the Dr. Michael Coco YouTube on fundamentals of book writing. You will see where we talk about the perfection syndrome. And she really mentioned that because one of the pitfalls of book writing is the perfection syndromes. Another thing I mentioned about the eighth pitfall is the procrastination. A lot of people procrastinated. Oh, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. I mean, like I was in that. I was a citizen of that nation for 20 years. I was procrastinating. Yeah, I was procrastinating. And I tell people when you are writing book, you need to have a deadline. Yeah. So, Coach Remy, can you tell us the deadline factor? How has it worked for you? While we are still waiting for people that have questions, the deadline factor. And did you set a deadline that really helped you?
So yes, I set a deadline to actually publish in March, but it was still but what the I didn't
So
meet the
what is unique
publishing
about March?
deadline.
I know what is unique about March. What?
But because March was my birthday,
I
so
know it.
uh
Yeah.
but what happened was it made it to the editor. So I
Mm,
knew it was now out of my hands at least, even though it wasn't fully published. So that deadline helped me to race to that date and just hand it over to the editor, and I
mm,
was done with it. Even though I still had to do some feedback editing,
mm,
but having that date, and then the second date deadline was July. I mean, between June and July, because no,
mm,
actually, it was June. My family was going to be in town, and I was going to have a book launch with everyone. So
mm,
now they've already bought their tickets. There is
mm,
no way I can delay on the deadline. So the book had to be finished and sent
mm,
out to publish. And
mm,
then I ordered the author's copy, so it was ready for the book launch dates because I had a physical book launch in my city here. So having that deadline really helped me to race to the finish line.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, because it's very important. I've set deadlines on my book, and that has helped you to be driven. It keeps you up even when you are sleeping, and to really realize that wow, I have to meet up with this deadline. But like I always tell people, I said without deadline, you are heading for a dead end. And that's the truth because you don't really have a goal, you don't really have a set time. You can just like, well, yeah, let me just take. But deadline keep you on your feet. It's good when you are writing a book. Have a deadline that when do you plan
Mhm.
to finish the book because that will set your creative juice in action. Okay, also tell us what are other factors that help you in the course of this book writing. What are the other factors that help you?
I think one other thing was trying to picture the book cover. I
Mm,
had so many ideas. I had so many revisions. I mean, it's an understatement to say perhaps I had up to 20 different book
mm,
covers, and they would give me this one, they would give me that one, but it wasn't connecting with the message of the book. I just
mm,
couldn't release the book because the book cover wasn't right. And honestly, because of the deadline, one day I just sat on my desk and I just prayed. I said, "Oh my," I said, "God, I need a book cover so this book can go out." And right
mm,
there, he just gave me an idea. And that's what created, he just said, "Why don't you just put all the icons of all the activities on the
mm.
book cover?" And I had the designer arrange it in the letter C because it's about connection, and so they arranged
Wow.
the
I
icon.
never knew that. You just said that. I
Oh,
never knew. Even though I got the book. So that's what happened.
so that's what happened. So that's how eventually that book covered. That one
Mm,
resonated. It resonated with me. It resonated with
mm,
people that I was getting feedback from,
mm,
which are my target audience. And so that's how it was completed. Another thing I had to work on is the right picture. I had chosen a different author picture for it, and my audience kept saying, "No, this is not the picture. No, that's not the picture." And so just getting feedback from your target audience or people that know you also will help you to put the right picture there. And so when they approved that one, I said, okay, let's take it to the designer and let's go.
Wow, that was awesome. And I really appreciate that. And I believe everyone is listening to this. The feedback factor is a very powerful factor.
Yes.
And I must confess to you, and when I was doing my 10 book project, which is less than 2 years, I didn't do well with the feedback factor. Not that I didn't want feedback, I didn't know better. But towards the last book, especially this one, I did much better with my feedback because I was really, and it takes a lot. And let me say this. I got this today from someone. He said, humility is your protection from deception.
Mm,
Humility is your protection from deception. So I think being humble makes you vulnerable and open to feedback. And I'm not talking about feedback from just anyone, but from people. Feedback from people that are in close proximity to you. So in the course of doing that, my mentor Elizabeth McCormick was able to say I should change the subtitle that it's not powerful enough, and she gave me what to use. Like I said, I didn't do this better in my earlier book writing experience, but as I begin to learn about this feedback factor, it really helped and it makes everything better. Just like you said, those things help you because you are not the one that we're going to read the book. So
yeah.
if you can get a feedback, that will give you much more opportunity to make the book better. Yeah, I want us to talk about the what has been your experience uh pre-author and post-author. So what has changed for you?
Wow. Pre-author, I just have conversations. Post-author, when I go out to meet for for coffee or for lunch with a friend or somebody in my community, someone has my book and said, Remi, can you sign my book? And
Mm,
it's kind of humbling that they'll say, oh, I want you to sign my book. And it just took me back to those days when I would line up to have like someone like Dr. John Maxwell sign my book that I bought.
mm,
And so just seeing them, the connection between the person that has my book and
mm,
me, it feels like, wow, this person can give me even more feedback for my
yeah.
version 2.0. So
Right.
that is the feeling. So yeah, just meeting people. And a lady texted me on Facebook the other day, so Remi, my book just arrived. And so just seeing that, wow, people are impacted, people want to support what is good. And
Mm.
so that is a life-changing feeling for me.
Wow. And that's the awesome thing about this. Because like I told people, it's like it's such a very great this thing goes to go back to the legacy factor. Because the legacy factor is like you have the privilege to leave something behind for people. I remember I was in Texas. I was there for a convention. So in my bag, I have 2 copies of my book. So I just went to pick up lunch. So my wife, I mean, in fact, that we met in Texas together at that convention that we both went together. So my wife went back to the hotel. So I said I'll bring the lunch. She doesn't have to come with me. So as I was waiting to pick up the lunch, so I met these 2 white guys. They already ordered for their food. So we were just having a conversation, and I brought a copy of my book. They said, "Oh, wow! So how much is the book?" And one of them, he gave me the money. And the second one too brought out the money and gave it to me. And they said, "Please, can you autograph?" And they told me exactly what to write on the book. I
Wow.
felt so honored because I just met them 3 minutes ago. And I was able to walk out there with $50 in my pocket for buying 2 of my books. I mean, a stranger that I just met just now. But
Yeah.
it just shows how legacy flows. If I don't have a book, I don't have anything to live with them. They might
Yes,
not see me again, but they have the book.
they have the
So
book.
that's part of the legacy that we are talking about. Dr. John Maswell was talking about his motivation to write books he saw one of his mentor writing books. I think that's less. And the first name of the person was Less. I think maybe like Les Perot, something like that. So he now hacks him. He said, "Why do you write books?" He said the mentor now told him that, John, there are some people I will never meet in my life. So I'm writing books for those people that I will never meet them in my lifetime. And for the first time, Dr. John Maswell said that was very clear to him that that was a turning point in his life. But he said it took him 1 whole year to write his first book. you know, but the thing is this, that was the motivation for writing books. There are people that they will just see your books. And the good thing is that this is part of the legacy factor. You can be sleeping in the night and someone there is reading your book. I remember one time when my 10th book came out, and someone just sent me a picture. She was in California, she lived in Georgia, she was in an hotel, she just took a picture of reading my book. I felt so humble, like, wow.
Yeah.
I said I said, I said, thank God I've been to California at least twice or so. And then someone, and that was the beautiful thing part. This is what the legacy is all about. That even after, I mean, your time on earth is over, your book will still be around, changing lives, changing lives. Your book is going to go to where you've never been before.
Yes.
Listen, my book have traveled to Qatar. I've never been to Qatar before. But somebody came during the IMC. She bought my book. She took it to Qatar. My book has been to Ghana. Yeah, I've never been to Ghana before, but Coach Grace bought my book in Orlando. She's here today. She took my book to Ghana. That's what legacy is all about. Your book will go to where you've not been. So I want to inspire everyone. And it's not about being famous. It's all about changing lives. The other time I was saying, Coach Temi, I want to unmute. I want to, because Coach Temi is going to be our next guest author for next month. Coach Temi, can you put your video on?
I can. I have wardrobe malfunction though.
Okay.
It's okay. I'll put it on.
Yeah, the reason why I mentioned Coach Temi is that one day I was looking at her Facebook and she said something. She said, and somebody was reading a book from another part of the world. What was that?
Italy.
Yeah. I want to remember. That's why I don't want to guess. Since you're already here, that's why I put you on the spot. So how do you feel, Coach Temi, and you are in Canada and someone is reading your book in Italy?
Yeah, Italy is not even far away. Australia, they have my books in Australia. And
Really? Wow.
I know.
Wow.
For me, it's such a blessing because I don't know if I'll be able to go to Australia anytime soon. But I just say the books are there, and with books that are really transformative, you tend to talk about it. So it begins to create the ripple in that community. And so my book is so self-contained that you could take it and run with it. And that's my goal. Like wherever people are, they can talk about soul sovereignty in their tables, in their homes, in their families, in their churches, in their communities, and we just that legacy, that ripple effect. Yeah.
Wow. That is why I spotlight you, because I just want people to know the reality of what I was saying. When I just saw that, I said, wow. Not that I didn't know that your book can get there, but it's just humbling when you see your book going where you've not been, just ahead of you. Dr. John Maxwell said he will get to so many places. Oh, we've read your book. We read that. That means the book has gone ahead. This is what legacy is all about. Legacy is not even when you die. You understand what I'm saying? It's not even when you die. Do you get me? And this is the inspiration. And Coach Temi, she did a tripod legacy. She brought 3 books out at the same time. And it's so beautiful that, see, I'm so inspired because all these are products of the Authors Forum coming out. That's why I'm glad we're going to be featuring Coach Temi next month. And because I want people to realize that your dream is a possibility. Yeah, don't give up your dream. And Coach Remi never did. and Coach Tammy never did. And Coach Grace, even right here today, she's working on her book. I've been privileged to be an insider. I won't spill no beans. Yeah. To see a book. I mean, wow, phenomenal. And Coach told me too, she's working on her book. So, like I said, this is what we celebrate in the Authors Forum. We are celebrating other people's accomplishments. And I want to tell you, if there's other people that introduce them to the Authors Forum, because I believe when authors support authors, we are going to get to the top together, because you can't get to the Mount Everest in isolation. You need to get there in association. Yeah. Coach Timmy, thank you. Thank you so much. I spotlight you on purpose so that you can really give me that city where they were reading your book. Thank you. Yeah. So, Coach Remi, before we close, what is your closing comment for our special all everyone listen to you live, and that we're gonna listen to you later? Yeah.
I was just gonna say there are methods of writing, and it will continue to evolve. And because my second book that I'm working on, what I'm using is I'm still using my text to talk, but because I had done a webinar and a training on that topic, what I did was I just printed out my PowerPoint slides, and then I arranged them on a board with a pen, and I moved them around depending on what I want to say first. And I transcribed that particular training and edit it to fit what I want to say chapter by chapter. And when I did that first draft and printed it, then I began to go and say, okay, what story of my own self, of my customers, that would help this audience understand that topic? So you can see I added a layer of, I just needed to see it on, and I know I just came up with that idea, but then I remember listening to a podcast where somebody had gone to Will Smith, and he was telling them how he uses sticky notes to write a play. So these tools, we have to just evolve with them, bring
Yeah.
new things that would help us to speed up the process, to juggle our brain, to keep us organized. So whatever it is, I want to just tell the audience, don't let anything stop you. Find different ways. Come to Authors Forum. Somebody's going to share a new idea that you don't know, and it will help you to get along with your book writing. So I have another deadline because I have a conference coming up. So I'm trying to meet that deadline again with the manuscript of my book. So I'm just cheering everybody on to keep up the
Wow,
good work.
that's awesome. Coach Timmy said they call it story maps, what you just
Story
mentioned.
maps. Okay.
Yeah, really, yeah. So with that, we've come to the end of October Authors Forum. It's been a great time. Coach Remi, thank you for being here today. And like we said, Coach Timmy will be our next guest for the November's Authors Forum. And in December, we are bringing my publisher, Soshi Sito. She just wrote a book, and she'll be coming up. Yeah, it's going to be great, for the last two editions that we have. Thank you, everyone. I want you to know this will be available on YouTube, and it will be made available to the public so that you can enjoy the replay. Thank you, everyone.